sure as this video progresses, the light will come and cross my face. So I have very difficult video stuff here. But anyway, I hope everyone's having a great Sunday morning. Mine's okay. My back pain and my knee pain are still here, but it's a little bit better than they were yesterday. Yesterday, I was just like really struggling, wasted a lot of my morning trying to get get over that. It's still twingy. It's back pain is just sucks. Anyway, I hope everyone's well. I was trying to make a couple of videos over on TikTok, but for whatever reason, technology is not my friend. I don't feel like a lot of things are my friend. One of the things that I was talking about, however, was friendships. I'll get on to that because I think that it's really important. And talking about friends and apologies, I'm like, damn it. All right. I hate my phone. I have to say this because I'm recording from my phone because I keep getting all these pop-ups, reminders and text messages, and I hate it. And I do it because I'm like, well, I don't want to miss anything, but then I get a lot of crap. It's frustrating. Having ADHD really sucks. It's not a superpower, folks. And people who are telling you that it's a superpower are lying. Anyway, so what was I talking about? I'm going to talk about friendships and the Trump election and the Trump regime, because I think that it's a really important talking point right now. I also want to say something because it was brought to my attention in my thing that I was looking a little bit rough. And I am typically not really a vain person. And I feel that, it's the content, not the thing, right? And I just want to point out that, while criticism and critiquing someone can be helpful at times, understand that one really cannot effectively critique or help anybody if you don't actually bring in anything positive. Okay, so you can sit there and say, I'm only helping you because, I'm trying to help you or whatever. And all you do is criticize. Like all you do is pick out all the little things that are wrong, but never present anything that is good and that is encouraging, right? And to be a good teacher, you really have to be able to do both, Not saying that people shouldn't, are too thin-skinned, they can't handle criticism, that's all fine. Yes, people should be able to handle some criticism and be able to, we don't want to be thin-skinned like Donnie, right? But it also really is important to be able to find positive things and to encourage folks and say, hey, you were really good with this, instead of just focusing on all the bad stuff, okay? People need to hear the good stuff too. And there are good things that people do. Okay. So there was an author, and writer, his name is Derek Jensen, and he wrote a book called Walking on Water. And it was it's basically a book, on learning. I'll have to post it. I'll post it on my blog, on my YouTube blog. And he would go into like prisons and teach, poor communities and stuff about writing. And he'd go into prison systems and teach writing classes and things like that. And he said that one time during his class, he was asking the class to write an essay on something. and he was reading them and he was providing some feedback. And he said all of these like really positive things that this person had written. And the person had not, was so not used to hearing any good things. Like they were so trained to respond to criticism. Like, well, what did I do wrong? And he's like, well, why don't we look at what you did right before we look at what you did wrong? It's important. And there's nothing wrong. It's like you're not just like patting them on the head and saying, oh, here I'm gonna, like really find good things to bring out about somebody, you know? I mean, maybe some people are irredeemable and they don't have any positive qualities for you to actually comment on or focus on or whatever. But, if they're sincerely really good things, bring that up. People like to hear good things. It helps to motivate them. A lot of people really are not motivated by criticism. You learn and you get inspired when you have people on your side and have your back and are like trying to like say, hey, wow, look at all this good stuff you did, instead of going, well, you got this wrong and this wrong and this wrong and what's your problem? And I mean, those things are not motivating. And it's like if you only hear the negative, you're less likely to be motivated and feel really good. It's just going to depress you and say, well, I can't do anything good, so why bother trying, right? Just a thought. I know that, a lot of people think, la, 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 la. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there for anybody listening. I wanted to talk a little bit about friendships and the Trump regime. So I had made a post over on TikTok about how I know that, the big thing is that how we're losing all our friends because of Trump. And I lost a friend of 45 years, thereabouts. We've been friends most of my life, probably older than that. And it's been really rough. The first administration, I just started noticing, I won't go into major details. I started noticing how this person was talking. They had moved from one community to a gated HOA community, and they said that they wanted to get away from, quote, the riffraff. Now, this was like almost 20 years ago, right? And I remember my jaw just dropped, like, what? Like, and we had been friends since, like, we grew up together. Her mother and my mother were friends and everything. And I was just like, wow. But I moved on. We never really talked. Politics wasn't really big center stage in our friendship. And, we're just going along and everything like that. And then, during the pandemic, we started to talk about some things that we were very concerned about with regards to the pandemic, how it was being handled, some little details about certain things. And I was like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, like trying to have a conversation about this very pivotal, important event that was going on in our lives. And but then this election, because of the alarming nature of everything that's been going on, I spoke up about some things, and I had sent an email to people that I knew that were either on the fence or had shown support for this administration. And I didn't even bring up anything other than I said, you should be concerned that Elon Musk is going and rooting through your information, right? And she came out swinging, and she's like, how dare you? We're friends, and I don't litter your message box with all this political stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I'm glad that all this stuff is happening, and I support it, and God bless America. I mean, just the whole mask was off, and her racism just came out just punching, right? And I was like, I can't. I just can't. I can't even pretend anymore. And so I was pushing back on her, and I just realized, like, I can't continue this friendship anymore. And it sucks because it was a 45-year friendship. And I tried really hard to say, well, politics isn't the nature of our friendship. But there is a line in the sand that has to be drawn, right? And you have to, and this person, I look back and see how much this person was a Karen. And when she moved to this HOA with her husband, you know, she was complaining about the HOA initially, right? Because they couldn't put up a tool shed in their backyard. So they broke the rules by getting around them by putting up a children's playhouse to put their tools in. Okay. So she'd already had demonstrated that she'll skirt the rules and find loopholes and stuff when it benefited them while they're bitching about how controlling and everything the HOA is. And then one day we were walking around the HOA, which is a very beautiful community, actually, I have to say. And she's just going on and on and on and on, and like just drama, like telling me all the drama in this HOA and the people on the board, and they were on the board and everything, and just how people were so petty and backstabbing. And then she proceeds to say that she reported one of them when they had their work truck in their driveway, which is an HOA violation, which is so stupid, right? And that she reported them. And then they got all mad at her because she reported him for having his work truck in his driveway. And this is another person. And I was like, do you see how hypocritical you are? And I'm just sitting there going, okay, and this is how this person is, petty, backstabbing, drama, I'm looking and I'm reviewing all the times, and I'm like, she's a really, really angry person. And so anyway, that friendship. But my comment that I had made over on TikTok was the fact that I know a lot of people are like, get off social media, get off Facebook, get off all these places. They're toxic, they're bad, they're negative, we can't find them. I'm like, understand, however, that there are people that exist and that are out there that have no social network and they have no support network. I am a very isolated person. I live out in a rural area. I don't have much of a social network, and a lot of my social circle that I have has basically dissolved for one reason or another, not because of politics per se, but people move away. I'm far away from people now, and it's not just me moving away from them. They moved to other countries, they moved, etc. And I think that people need to be really aware that not everybody has the support network that you may have. You may have a great big family that all agree on everything. You may have a really good supportive system. You may work at a great place of work. I don't work at a bad place, but it's not encouraged that we talk politics. I can't just go out with my work buddies and, and do whatever and complain about the administration, right? Like, it's just, I don't have that kind of relationship. And my job is one that deals with mental health. But it's just not structured, and it's just, I don't know. I'm not, and I've been there for many, many years, but I keep my work life and my, because, you've got your work reputation, you have your, you can't say certain things about things, and it just gets messy. You don't want to like stir up that business. But anyway, not that they're pro whatever, but it's just, I just try and keep it separate. So, but just be aware that not everybody may have the same kind of like social network or support network that you do. And they may rely on social media in some way, shape, or form to stay in connection with other people. I was infuriated, obviously, by Zuckerberg. I have had a presence on Facebook, and I keep saying, I'm going to get off, I'm going to get off, I'm going to get off. And I realize, like, I keep making excuses because I have a business presence on there for just my little jewelry business, as well as my cat, semi-feral cat colony. And I post stuff, and I've got like almost 1,000 followers on there. And I also run a liberal prepping group. And so it's really hard to just walk away from that and just say bye because that's all I have, right? Like I don't really have a solid connection. That's where I built up a lot of my community. But a lot of my friends have moved away. But I still try and I was like, well, do I want to just walk away? Like you get angry, you're like, I don't want to give my money to Zuckerberg or Musk or whatever. I mean, I still have an X account. I actually, the funny thing about X though, I had a Twitter account, which I hated Twitter. I've always hated Twitter, but I had a Twitter account because everybody had a Twitter account. But I hate Twitter. I don't like Twitter. I hated it. And so then, of course, well, when Musk took it over, somehow my account had gotten, it was weird. Like it had completely fallen apart. And I was never really on there. And I went on there and everything was like in Chinese characters. It was weird. And I was like trying to fix it. I was like, did someone hack my thing? I mean, no one was posting, but it was weird. And then I got a notice, and I never ever really posted on there. And I suddenly got, it's like, oh, your account's been suspended. And I'm like, okay. So I had to recreate a whole new account, right? Because it's like I want to stay kind of like, you know, in position. And I know people are like, but you're giving your money to these people, and I'm very aware of that. But I realized something that I think that it's really important to take up space right now and to not retreat. And I've stated this. Do not retreat. Don't retreat. Don't go into your bedrooms and hide for the next 4 years. We can't do that. You can't do it this time. And as hard as it is, and I'm not saying don't take care of yourself or don't do self-care, but don't retreat. Take up space. You have the right and the obligation to take up space. Okay. And I feel like, I mean, I know for a fact that TikTok has, while it's gotten a reprieve, will probably not survive. Um, and it's sad because there really isn't any other social media app that does really what TikTok did. And I made the mistake of deleting CapCut, which was an integral part in terms of making really good um, TikTok videos. And I stupidly deleted that. I don't know why. Um, so here I am on YouTube Live, you know, with no comments, no followers, whatever. But, you know, um, but I'm going to keep trying, you know? And one of the things that I did over on Facebook is that there was a neighborhood group, and all these neighborhood groups that I belong to stay in connection, see what the news is in the neighborhood, etc., were obviously very pro-Trump. And I was like, this is frustrating. So I went and I made a no Trump zone neighborhood community. And I got about 43 people there. One of which, someone that was like, oh, well, I wanted no politics. I'm like, I didn't say this isn't going to be no politics. I said it was going to be no Trump. Like, you know, in terms of like pro-Trump, because like you've got all these other neighborhood groups that say they're no politics. It's like, we need a safe place. And they're like, oh, so you can just go and like, you know, delete everyone. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's funny because these people are all like, oh, well, you know, look at these liberals and they're like hiding and they're, you know, running scared and, you know, they have to like delete and censor. I'm not for censorship. I am a very light-handed moderator, and I strongly criticize people that over moderate. And you know who you are. I'm over on Reddit, and it is impossible. And I am liberal, and I have been banned from the ADHD group. I have been restricted from posting from various groups because I have violated some arcane rule that they had, right? And I was trying to start a conversation, and I wasn't trolling, but it's like I violated, and they've got all these bots and stuff. Like, your post was removed for for mentioning this. I mean, you have to jump through all of these hoops in order to post anything. And even if you like, sometimes you can comment in the comment section, but you can't post anything. Or sometimes you can, make a comment, but you can't provide a link or whatever. It's all these like, and they're so, you don't know. And I know they said, well, then read the rules. I'm like, how many different, I mean, they've just got these long list of rules and things you can be violations for. And I'm just like, how can you, I mean, it's so ridiculous. And I understand that people think that this is keeping conversation and content, that the conversation is better quality. It isn't better quality. It's not. It's not better quality to, thank you, think again. Thank you. Please follow and like. I know no one's on here right now, but if you see this later, please subscribe and like. I'm going to try and make more of a effort to post because I have to. It's anyway. But so yeah, what was I saying? So take up space. Speak even if your voice shakes, right? And it takes courage to get out there and make a presence. And I know a lot of people have anxiety about public speaking and taking up space, and they want to hide, and they have a lot of social anxiety. And I feel ya. I really do. I grew up, I had anxiety most of my life, and I realized it was more than likely a vitamin deficiency. I either had, it was either D3 or some B vitamins, which are part of your nervous system. And I had taken Xanax for many, many years. And then, Xanax, and then I took Klonopins, and they won't prescribe them for me anymore. And I would take just a little bit. But yeah, benzodiazepine addiction is nothing to sneeze at, but I never got it. It's just that, but I did have anxiety for many, many years. But it's like a lot of that, it's taking supplements and taking your vitamins and making sure you don't have a deficiency helps with that. But I think that it is just really important for people that say, well, I'm getting off of this toxic social media, like they're just so superior, that they don't think that, they don't remember that there are people out there that their only connection to the world is social media. And you, by taking up space and having a place for them, and I hate saying the word safe space because I have issues with, I don't have issues, well, that's a whole other conversation about trigger warnings and safe space, but it is important to have somewhat of a safe space in order to be able to express, connect, reach out, talk, etc. And so yeah, I just feel like it's really important to remember that there are people out there that may be their only way that they can connect to the world. And I understand that we are becoming very siloed with our social media. I have issues with that. I know that people go, oh, and a lot of it is the algorithm. TikTok got criticized a lot because of for whatever reason, because people didn't really understand how it went. But you can get, the algorithm is really critical in terms of like finding people that share your common interests and that you can have conversations with, and, all this other kind of stuff, and not all the other algorithms. So, I have seen a massive uptick in pro-Trump, pro-tyranny, pro-Nazi crap. Not anyway, but yeah, conservative stuff. And I, early on TikTok, I actually saw there was a fair amount of Christian weird stuff. There was a guy on TikTok that was doing these live, and I'm like, it is so hard to get enough followers. You have to get like so many, like 10,000 followers in order to even begin to do a live on TikTok. And I've never even gotten, I haven't even broke 1,000, honestly. And, but there were these Christians, there was this one Christian guy who was literally carrying a full size wooden cross around on his back. And he was doing these lives, and he'd walk around communities and everything with this big cross, like he was Jesus Christ and I'm spreading the word of Jesus. And I was just like, why in the hell is this in my feed? I mean, there's just anyway, but so yeah. So just be aware of that when you choose to criticize or condemn social media, that there's a lot of people out there that are alone and they don't have anybody, and the only place that they have to reach out is in a very dark place right now. So provide spaces for them to be able to connect and be open enough. Don't, the problem we have right now is that we are so divided. We don't listen to each other, and we can't have really nuanced conversations. And it's very easy to demonize the other. And that other may not completely be taken over by darkness. And so we need to be able to sit there and listen and have really good, healthy conversations. And it's up to us to model that, and it's just really important to do that. So take up space. Remember that there are people out there that this may be their only place to connect to anybody. So, and it's hard. I mean, and people go, oh, well, I'm just going to go over to Blue Sky. And I have a Blue Sky account, but there's people still over on Facebook that have established stuff. It's easy to say when it doesn't affect you. It's like people saying, I'm never going to shop at Walmart because of their horrible practices. I don't want to shop at Kroger because of their horrible practice, but I have to shop where I have to shop, right? Like I can't, as much as I would love to be self-reliant and self-sufficient and grow my own food and never have to go into a grocery store, that's impossible. I mean, if you have that, great, more power. You can lord it over all of us how you're a perfect person, right? But the reality is that it's not, people have to go where they have to go. They may not have the money to spend it on this. They have to buy the cheaper thing, which is over here. That's just a reality. Be a little bit more aware and compassionate instead of having this, oh my God, I never shop there. I never do this, It's not realistic. It's like people saying, I'm never going to shop at Home Depot or Lowe's because of their political things. I'm like, okay, well, obviously, and I'm sorry for people who do not own homes. I'm sorry about that. That sucks. But if you own a home, you're going to be shopping at Home Depot and Lowe's. Sorry. Anyway, so that's my 2 cents for the day. 2 other things before I leave, because I like to keep these about 30 minutes. I am currently rewatching The Good Place, and if you haven't seen that show, I highly recommend it. It is very humorous. There is a message, which I don't want to say that in a, like, there's a message, but it's funny. If you didn't see it, go watch it. I mean, it really is something that needs to be watched again, because I think there's a lot of people that don't really understand how to be a good person. And it's like, like, it's just good. It's funny. It's just funny. And then the other thing I wanted to say is that, so over on TikTok, there was kind of a little bit of drama going on. There was a woman named Caitlin or Kately or something. I don't know what her name is. And she's this bleach blonde, long hair person. And she made a video that was like, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't understand why people read fiction books and make a big stink about reading so many books of fiction, right? And that, and she was basically saying it's a waste of time. You're not learning anything. Why are people so obsessed with reading fiction? It's like, and they make it like this goal for the year. You don't do that with movies. I mean, just it was really snarky and just completely unnecessary. I don't know who hurt her, but anyway. Um, and so she's been getting a lot of pushback. And it's like, why are you criticizing people who read fiction? There's a lot of things you can learn about ethics, you can learn about self-esteem, resiliency, empathy, that kind of stuff. And it's fun. It's like, why are you criticizing people who are doing this, right? Like, she's like, oh, well, I can understand reading a useful book, like a nonfiction book, but fiction is just such a waste of time. And anyway, with that conversation, I want to put out a book recommendation, and I wish I could do I'll try and put it in the comments section. There's an author that I read around 2013. I actually listened to him because I do a lot of listening because I have a long commute. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and I had Audible for a while, and I did record numbers of both nonfiction and fiction books when I had Audible. It was really good because I had a lot of listening time. I have a job that affords me the ability to be able to listen to a lot of books, so I'm very lucky in that regard. But it also, with my ADHD brain, and I've read, but it's like lately it's just been really, really challenging for me to actually sit and actually read words. I'll read the same paragraph over and over and over again. Yay, modern society. Anyway, it's an author by the name of Jeff Wheeler, and he wrote a series called The Legends of Muirwood, Muirwood, and the King's Fountain series. And he's written some other series too, but those are the two that I recommend, and they're kind of around the same world. And they're books that they have really, really good word building. The magic system is really good. And more importantly, and it's not preachy at all, but it does write about like the world, the story is about, basically, in a nutshell, good and evil, right? Like these good people who are trying to hold on to goodness, and I'm paraphrasing lightly, against this insidious evil that permeates people inside. And I think that I want to reread this series because they were very hopeful for me, and they were very inspirational. Again, his name is Jeff Wheeler, and the series are the Muirwood series and the King's Fountain series. And I'm going to see if I can bring up. I have a desk and I never have enough room. Let's see. I'm going to try and find. Let's see. Hold on, I'm trying to find. I don't know. I probably will have to come back and talk about these. I need to get my hair cut. Hello. And he borrows a lot, he borrows a lot from various spiritual traditions and philosophical traditions. And so he has a lot of really great quotes that are very inspirational. And I'm not going to be able to. Let me try to think. I'll have to do a whole video because there was one that I actually made a poster for my office because it was such an inspirational quote. And of course, I'm not going to find the one. It was something about being in the storm. Like one of the thing, doubt is poison. You must fix your thoughts in your mind. Do not doubt. Believe and then act. Fear stops you from acting. And again, none of these things are new. Other authors, other writers have talked about them, but there's the books are just really, really good. Um, uh, I'm just trying to think. Yeah. Um, I'm just trying to think. There was really, really good quotes, and I can't find them right now. Um, There's one. The mind, like the body, can be moved from sunshine into shade. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, there's a bunch of quotes, but there's one quote in particular about the thing of the storm, like not being afraid of the storm or something. I'll have to dig it up. It's on my office wall. So, but it's inspirational. So I highly recommend those books. If you're looking for some inspiration right now, in fighting good and evil. Obviously, Lord of the Rings is a really great series as well. Rewatching all that. And because I think we are at a place, this is kind of unprecedented, honestly, for the United States, at least in my lifetime, in how evil really is, and I talked about that a little bit yesterday, um, how it's blooming, and it's sad. It's very sad. So anyway, I should go because it's past 30 minutes. But anyway, thanks for joining, and please like and subscribe. I don't tell people that enough, and it shows. But I'm going to try and get back on here because I do want to continue to have conversations, and I welcome people to talk. Thanks. All right.